So for the spinach pockets, فطائر سبانخ, I bought this 2.5 pound spinach that's triple washed. That's the easiest way to go, and it's so clean, ready to chop. So I'm gonna chop those. Chop. Doesn't have to be finely chopped. Go around. All right, so I chopped all the 2.5 pounds of spinach, and now I'm gonna sprinkle with salt, and I mix it all together because the salt is gonna make it get rid of the water in it. So I'm gonna wait for a couple of hours and then squeeze out all the juice from it. Okay, to continue with the فطائر, which is the spinach pockets. So I have things ready here. I need to prepare the dough. So I added 6 cups of this size, which is about 2 measuring cups. So I put that here and in this container. So I'm going to add about 1.5 teaspoons of salt and a teaspoon of sugar just to help the dough to rise. Adding powdered milk, 1/2 cup of powdered milk, because it makes the dough easy to work with. And then I have a cup of oil. And which is canola oil. And I'm gonna add the yeast. So I have a teaspoon of yeast. So I'm gonna mix them all together. And then I'll start kneading with my hands and adding some warm water until it's exactly how I want it to be. So I'm gonna start mixing. I have my warm water next to me. So I'm just gonna add 1 cup at a time and mix it and see how much I need. But I'm gonna keep kneading. So that's my 2nd cup right there. Sometimes I used to add a little bit of water and sugar in a cup and add the yeast to it and let it rise before I add it to this. But I found out, oh, whoops, trying to measure here. So let me use my 3rd cup here. All right. Looks like it's getting close. I want to make it easy for me to work with. Looks like it's getting close. Not gonna put too much water, maybe 1/2 cup, and see how that goes. Getting to be really close. It looks like it's done. I'm just gonna cover it with this top. So again, getting things ready for the spinach pockets, فطائر سبانخ. Look at the spinach. It really reduced in volume because of the salt I added to it. I still need to squeeze it. However, in the meantime, I need to chop the onions. So I have 4 medium-sized heads of onion. And so I'm just going to chop them fine. The onions are already chopped, and now it's time to squeeze the spinach. So I'm going to squeeze it by hand just to get the juice out of it. Look how much smaller that gets. This bowl was really full, and now it's just very small. So what I do is I take it in between my hands, squeeze as much juice as I can out of it, and put it in another bowl. There we go. Squeeze and then out. As you can see, I really like to squeeze as much juice out of the ingredients as possible. So there's my onions chopped. So I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. Notice that the salt I put on the spinach, it's enough for the spinach. So I'm gonna put salt here, and I'm gonna like rub it, because I feel sometimes like when I rub it with salt, I can get some juice out of it. And then also it cooks better. So back as I finished rubbing the onions, I'm adding what I had squeezed from the spinach to it. And I'm going to add to the mix olive oil, I would need to add about a cup of olive oil. So there's that. And then I'm not gonna add salt because I added salt to both the spinach and the onions. I'm gonna add some sumac, ground sumac seed that gives it the sour and good taste. Pepper, black pepper, and then some allspice. And sometimes I add the pomegranate molasses. It gives it some sourness and a good taste. I don't have the pomegranate molasses, which is dibis al-rumman. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of lemon salt or citric acid to it to give it that, and mix it all together. Onion, spinach, olive oil. Oh, that smells so good already. I think I need to add a little more of the sumac. Sumac is really good with it. I put only 1/4 of a cup. I think I need half a cup of sumac. So I'm gonna add a little more, and my stuffing will be ready. I just can't resist not to taste it. And in fact, in the past when I made this, the leftovers of the stuffing, if I had extra, I'll put it in the fridge, and that would be my salad. You can eat this with bread. If you eat it with pita bread, it's so yummy, or even by itself, it's so good. All right, so as you can see, I just took this out of the oven, and look how it's rising. So what I'm gonna do now is make it to small balls and let it rest for a little bit. So I'm just gonna take a ball this big, maybe as big as a walnut, and then sit them all on this spread. It actually was a bed spread that I never used, a bed sheet, I should say. And so I'm making them into balls, and I'm gonna let them rest for maybe 20 minutes before I start working with them. So I'm done with making those dough balls, and I'm just gonna cover them, come back to them, and I'll check on them in 10 or 20 minutes after they rest, and then I start stuffing them. All right, back to the dough after 10 minutes of resting. So I'm gonna make sure that it's mostly covered, but I need to roll it and let it set. So let me move this a little bit here so it can be visible. Okay, so I'm gonna take each one and roll it. This way, that's it. And put it on the sheet again. Do that. So, have not really counted them, but I'm gonna do the same to all of them and then let them rest for 5 to 10 minutes and start stuffing and baking. All right, so they're all done, and I'm gonna cover them for 5 minutes and start stuffing them. Time to stuff and bake the فطائر, the spinach pockets. So I'm gonna take each one and then put about a tablespoon of the stuffing in there, and then lift it like so. So I'm gonna make them like triangles and close them and then flatten them, and then I put it in a pan that I brushed with canola oil. Sometimes I don't brush it and they come out fine. However, I wanted to make sure that they don't stick to the pan. So as you see, it's holding it like this, making them triangles, flatten, and put in the pan. So the oven is heated again at 350. And I will put them in the oven, I want to say 15 to 20 minutes. But we'll see, I'll keep watching them. So let me finish, do a few pans and start baking, and then I will get back to you. Done with the first pan and off to the oven. So just took the first pan out of the oven after 20 minutes on 350, and I like to brush it with olive oil. I think it makes it more tasty and looks better. So I'm just gonna do that and then start baking my next pan. There is فطاير سبانخ, spinach pockets, وصحتين وعافية.